The first Super Regional of the year is here. Bands of America returns to Delaware. And it's UIL season for Texas bands. We have reached the halfway point of Bandtober as General Effect Media presents This Weekend in Band. That's right, we are back with a new episode of This Weekend in Band. I'm Daniel Montoya Jr. for General Effect Media. We did take a small break. I wouldn't consider it a break as we devoted all of our time and energy into our first live show, Show Day, which took place at the Kelly Reeves Athletic Complex for the Texas Marching Classic, hosted by Cedar Ridge High School. If you want to catch up on the ongoings, the fun, the interviews, you can definitely go look at some of the past videos that we have been uploading all week. We also have a Show Day playlist and a Show Day interviews playlist if you would rather just focus on the interviews with band parents, with band kids, administrators, etc., and not really focus on me or some of the other GEM contributors. But with all that out of the way, let's get back into it. It is a fantastic lineup of contests this weekend. We're not even talking about all of the contests around the country. We would have to record hours of footage. But as I mentioned, we are halfway through Bandtober, which depending on what state you are or which city or what circuit, things are ramping up. And because it's one of those weird, I believe, 5-week Octobers, this marching season seems extra long as we go all the way till the 16th. We have a full month left of marching band. So let's start off in Waco, Texas for BOA Waco. And why are we starting off with BOA Waco? Because Waco. Now, this contest only has 2 returning finalists from the same regional this time last year. Those 2 finalists are the returning champion, Dripping Springs High School, who tied Outstanding Music with Wiley and won Outstanding General Effect, and then Mo and Jean Johnson High School, who placed 5th overall in finals. If we go and look at who else is returning and how the preliminary results came out, Meridian High School, who was the only 1A who attended, they took all captions, they are returning. There are no 2As, at least based on last year's results, no 3As returning from last year's, and the only 4A who is not returning, who placed in class, was Wiley High School, who tied for music with Dripping Springs and 1 visual performance. So 10 open spots when it comes to this BOA Waco regional. Now, you may be asking, how can a regional in Texas only have 2 returning finalists? Well, as I mentioned in the intro, and as we'll talk about a little bit later, a lot of schools are having what we call UIL region contest. This is where you get a division rating. You hope to get a division 1 because if you get a 1, you get to advance to area competition. This is how we get from region to area to state marching contests. And we have so many areas around the country and even more regions and even more districts. Basically, you go to region, you want to get your 1. A lot of schools have moved to region taking place on Saturday, though there are a number of schools that do this in the middle of the week on Tuesdays. Some do it Wednesdays. Not sure if anybody does it Thursdays because sometimes there are football games on that. So because of all that kind of thing, a lot of the groups stay closer to home because they're going to region band that Saturday, or they're taking the weekend off because they go to UIL on that next Tuesday. And then, of course, they have a football game on Friday and then probably a contest on Saturday. So there's a whole lot of different scheduling and contest dynamics that take place as to why this region may not be as, well, it's not saying that people aren't going to this, but I think a whole different batch of people are going. Also, schools try to go to contests where they know area marching contest is going to be held so that they can get used to the acoustics, they can get used to the flow, they can get used to all of that. So if your school doesn't have area at Midway High School, but there's a local contest that hosts a contest that's in that same stadium that you're going to be at in 2 weeks, chances are you usually go to the one that is in the stadium that you want to learn acoustics. You want the kids to get comfortable, so you come back in 2 weeks and you have a familiarity, you understand all that. I know this was about BOA Waco, but UIL region band and then UIL area band does play a big part in why this regional is the way it is. So we said 10 spots, basically, only 2 returning finalists. However, there are a number of new groups to this regional, at least within the last year, that will more than likely challenge for the championship. Dripping Springs returning champion. Will they get 2 in a row? Will they win their second regional championship of this year? I think when you look at you find 5 groups that I think you will see in the top 5 when it's all said and done. Dripping Springs, of course, Cedar Ridge High School, Westlake High School, James Bowie High School, and Timber Creek. Now, James Bowie out of Austin and Timber Creek out of DFW, because there is an Arlington Bowie and then there's a Colorado Timber Creek and a Florida Timber Creek, if I remember correctly. So just wanted to make sure I specify on that. But I did say top 5. I think all those groups are going to be our top 5. And you would think I would have learned my lesson the first time I did this, and I didn't learn my lesson. I'm picking Cedar Ridge to win this contest. I'm picking Cedar Ridge, and I picked against Dripping Springs for the San Marcos show, and they shoved it in my face. They showed me I was wrong. And I even interviewed 4 students from the Dripping Springs percussion section at the show day, which was at Texas Marching Classic hosted by Cedar Ridge. So I think it's going to be a top 2 battle between Cedar Ridge and Dripping Springs. I could see a scenario where captions are split or tied or placements are flipped between prelims and finals. But if I had to pick, I'm going to go with Cedar Ridge. I think they win the BOA Waco Regional Championship this weekend. Now we move on to the great state of Tennessee for the Ballad Health East Tennessee Regional, which takes place at the Ballad Health Athletic Center in Johnson City, Tennessee. I was lucky enough to judge this contest a few years ago. It's interesting with that dome, kind of like a half dome, and the pit's basically in the stands at this point. Not a knock, that's just the way that the logistics work for this arena. Now, in this show from last year, only 6 finalists are returning of the 12. Those 6 finalists are returning champion Dobyns-Bennett High School, who won all captions and finals, Lafayette, Kentucky, Cass from Georgia, George Rogers Clark from Kentucky, Lake Hamilton, Arkansas, and Elizabethton from Tennessee. If we go into the preliminary awards, your Class A champion Bath County, or is it Bath? Bath County from Virginia, only participant last year in 1A. They are not returning. We go to AA. Cass High School, who took first in all captions, is returning. George Rogers Clark returning. Kennesaw Mountain, who took third, is not returning. There were no AAA schools at this contest last year. In 4A, Dobyns-Bennett took all captions and prelims. I apologize. This is 3A. Dobyns-Bennett, first in 3A, took all 3 captions. Lafayette High School, Kentucky, second place, returning. Franklin High School out of Tennessee placed third. They are not returning. And then we jump to 4A, where the only 2 participants, Fayetteville and Panther Creek, Fayetteville, Arkansas, took all captions. They are not returning. They will not be returning to this regional. Now, we had a bit of an upset at the Conway, South Carolina regional last week. Most people would have picked Wando High School to win that show. I did not pick for that show. We did have our contributors make a pick, and there was a finals surprise. James F. Burns ended up winning that show. James F. Burns is attending this show, and they will be competing for the championship against Dobyns-Bennett. If we look at preliminaries, Dobyns-Bennett will be playing last, as they are the defending champion. James F. Burns will be playing in the first block. They are 4th on at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. That doesn't mean anything. In fact, I think Burns might be 4A. Correct me if I'm wrong. So the preliminary results, you won't know how they stack up until they get into finals. Yes, I am predicting James F. Burns to get into finals. And I am also predicting that James F. Burns wins the East Tennessee Regional in Johnson City, Tennessee. That's right. That's right. I know that we upset the Dobyns-Bennett people because we didn't put them in the rankings. Prove me wrong, children. Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong, kids. Prove me wrong.
Now to Delaware. Now, last year, this show was held at College Park, Maryland, at the SECU Stadium at the University of Maryland. This year, we are in Delaware, for the Mid-Atlantic Regional Championship, presented by Yamaha. Now, of the 12 finalists from last year, there are 4 spots. 4 groups will not be returning. It'll be easier just to focus on those groups. Independence High School out of Virginia, not returning. Green Level High School out of North Carolina, not returning. W.T. Woodson out of Virginia, not returning. And Cambridge High School out of Georgia, not returning. Kiski area took finals. They took all captions and finals. There were no single A groups in there. In double A, Kiski area got first, took all captions. Cambridge High School took second, not returning. Victor High School out of New York took third. In Class AAA, Independence High School, Virginia took all captions in first, not returning. Green Level High School took second, not returning. James Madison out of Virginia took third, is returning. And then we get to Class 4A, where the champion W.T. Woodson, who also took music and general effect, is not returning. Second place was John Paul Stevens, or John P. Stevens, forgive me, who took the visual caption. They are not returning. Now, in this one, I did learn from my mistakes, as I'm ready to predict Kiski area will take this championship. Looks like they are the returning champion, I suppose, or they're playing in the last spot. Yeah, I guess technically they are calling this the Mid-Atlantic, so I guess that's how it works on there. So Kiski is the defending champion of the Mid-Atlantic Regional, so they get to go last in prelims. We predict they are going to win this regional again. As I mentioned earlier, Show Day debuted for the first time at the Texas Marching Classic this past weekend. We also debuted our newest design. Saturdays are for the bands. That's right, not just for the boys, for the bands. And we have this design available in a t-shirt, in a long sleeve shirt, in a sweatshirt, and a hoodie, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, that just means the GEM logo t-shirt is available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, sweatshirt, hoodie, maybe even a quarter zip, all that stuff. Yes, this is a commercial for you to go to the General Effect Media store, where you can support us by buying some fantastic merch. Fall is here for at least 2 days in Austin, Texas. It's in the low 70s. It was in the 50s and 60s this morning. What perfect weather to wear a long sleeve shirt or a sweatshirt or a hoodie. Or if you're in the rest of the country where you've had fall for a while and real cold temperatures, definitely buy that one. After administrative fees, all profits will be shared with our content creators. And wouldn't you be the coolest kid in band if you were sporting some General Effect Media swag? I think so. But maybe you don't want to wear anything with General Effect Media on it. Maybe you'd just rather give us money. If that's the case, you can go to ko-fi.com and donate some money, as little as you'd like, as much as you'd like. Again, after administrative fees, all profits are shared with our content creators. We thank you for your support. This is a hobby. It's a labor of love. As I say, we don't make money. In fact, we lose money on this. So anyway, if you'd love to, we would greatly appreciate your support. And we move up to the Midwest. We move to what many consider to be the mecca of the marching arts activities. That would be Indianapolis, Indiana, the Circle City for the Indy Super Regional. Now, in a Super Regional, reminder, 14 groups make finals. Of last year's 14 finalists, only 4 are not attending. Those 4 would be O'Fallon Township, Union High School out of Oklahoma, Lakota West out of Ohio, and Lincoln High School out of South Dakota. The defending champion Carmel High School, who took all captions in finals, will be returning. And if we go into prelims results in Class A, Western High School took first, as well as music and visual. They are returning. Edgewood took second, as well as GE. They are returning. And Fairfield Junior Senior High School took third. They are also returning. If we go to Class AA, Choctaw High School out of Oklahoma is returning. They took all captions. Second place was Grain Valley from Missouri. They are not returning. And Jasper High School out of Indiana took third. They are returning. We jump to Class AAA, where Castle took first place, as well as music and visual. They are returning. Lincoln High School out of South Dakota, again, not returning, took second in GE. And Southmoore High School out of Oklahoma took third. They are not returning. Then we jump to Class 4A, where all 3 schools are returning. Carmel in first, Avon in second, William Mason in third, where Carmel took first in music, tied for visual with Avon, and Avon took general effect. That's how that one worked. Now, as I mentioned, of the 14 finalists, there are only 10 returning, and I thought I would look at some of the groups that jump out to me that have a pretty decent chance of making finals at this regional, in addition to those that may have already made it last year. So your returning bands that are coming in: Carmel, Avon, Mason, Brownsburg, Fisher, Castle, Center Grove, Centerville, Choctaw, and Noblesville. Those groups are all returning and will have a decent to fairly certain chance of making it again. I think if we go down the list of other groups that could possibly make it, and I will repeat some of these groups' names here: Carroll High School, Lawrence Township High School, Homestead High School, William Mason High School, Fishers, Wando, Avon, Noblesville, Brownsburg, Carmel, Castle, Owasso, Choctaw, North, Bixby, and Blue Springs. That's 16 groups for 14 spots that I believe we believe, have a decent shot at making finals. Those 16 bands, I believe your top 14 will come from those 16 bands. And if we're going into, well, who are the medalists going to be? I think there are 4 groups that have a decent shot at winning medals when it's all said and done in alphabetical order. Avon, Indiana, Blue Springs, Missouri, Carmel, Indiana, and William Mason High School. Those are going to be your top 4. One of them may win a caption, or a caption may go to each one of these, or top 3. I think you'll hear their name called either and or in top 3 and or a caption. And when it's all said and done, I'm going chalk. There's a reason why we have them as the Great Lakes representative in our marching band playoff bracket 2 weeks in a row. Carmel High School will be your champion of the Indianapolis Super Regional. As always, if you are liking the content that we are pumping out here at General Effect Media, why don't you subscribe to our Substack, which is the written word where we started off over 2 years ago. You get articles, opinions, reviews, previews, etc. But then you're also alerted when we drop a new video here at the YouTube channel. So you can subscribe to YouTube, which you should, and then also subscribe to the Substack, and you get double dipped. They tell you what we're getting, and you can read stuff, you can watch stuff, you can listen to stuff, all that great stuff. And then, of course, if you're into social media, we do have our Instagram page here, which has suddenly come back to life after this weekend. Pictures, videos, stories, reels, etc. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a follow, give us a comment, all of those things. And of course, be sure to share any and all articles, videos, podcasts, posts, whatever. We'd love, as always, your support, and we appreciate your following, your subscription, and your support. We now take a step back from Bands of America, and we focus on 2 Texas-based contests. Now, this weekend, we have the Winnsboro Marching Classic Battle for the Spear. The Battle for the Spear takes place on October 19th, and this show takes 10 finalists. Now, of the 10 finalists from last year, 9 are returning. 9 finalists are returning. That would be Mount Vernon, Quitman, Prairie Land, Hooks, Redwater. All those schools are 3A. And then we go to 4A, Willis Point and Pleasant Grove. And then we get to 5A, Marshall. Oh, I forgot one, 3A, Atlanta High School. 9 schools are returning for this contest to possibly make finals again this year. Now, this is mainly a 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A contest. That's what we call our different classifications here in the state of Texas. And it looks like returning champion, if I'm mistaken, Pleasant Grove High School is coming back. Will they win it again? They have had a very successful year thus far, and it looks like they are riding this momentum into not just a state marching contest appearance, but possibly a state marching contest medal in the year 2024. They were a state marching contest finalist, I believe, last year, if not just a qualifier. So looking forward to seeing how that all pops out. 3A and 4A and 5A. Look, all of our A's, 1 through 6, are very competitive. We have lots of great marching bands of all sizes from all cities and regions and towns all over the state. It's why we say band is just better in Texas. So keep an eye on these little contests, as we say. And I don't mean little as in like it's small. The Super Regional has how many groups competing? It's over 2 days, right? The first group here performs at 11, last group at 4:15. So really only 5 hours of band. I think that's 2 blocks in Indy Super Regional. So it's important to keep track of these because these bands are competing for, as I mentioned, region at some point in the next 2 weeks. Then they want to compete at area for the chance to advance to state marching contests. So these contests, like the Battle for the Spear, I'm assuming are going to be more UIL based as opposed to like a BOA based. But again, if your goal is to make it to the state marching contest, you want to go to a contest that functions like UIL and state marching contests. So good luck to all those competing at the Winnsboro Battle for the Spear. That's exciting. That's exciting. And speaking of UIL, I don't know of another UIL region contest that has a nickname that is so well known. People just refer to it as the nickname. They call it the UIL Region 28 5A and 6A Pigskin Jubilee at Bobby Morrow Stadium in San Benito, Texas, otherwise known as Pigskin. You literally just say, oh, we're going to Pigskin. We've got Pigskin this weekend. Pigskin. If you're in Texas, and you pretty much know what Pigskin is. It's UIL competition. You go and you get your rating. You get your 1 to find out who goes on to the next show, to area. Pigskin's just a fun name. I was in a college band, the Southwest Texas State University Bobcat Marching Band back in the day, and we exhibited at Pigskin in 1996. This year, the UT RGV Vaquero Marching Band, this is interesting. They are exhibitioning at 5:20 p.m. They're first on. Should they be at the end? I don't know. Someone in the comments from Pigskin, let me know why UTRGV is going first as opposed to last while they're waiting for results. Regardless, all the 5A and 6A groups in Region 28 will be competing for a Division I rating. Now, of all of these groups, only 2 did not receive 1s last year, which would mean that they were not able to advance to the area marching contest. I will not mention them by name, but you can go search if you would like. Now, why is getting a 1 important at Region Band? Other than earning sweepstakes, earning a trophy, getting the A rating, the more bands that get 1s at Region, the more bands they can take from state from that area. Let me give you an example. In UIL at area, and we have area A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. There might be an I now. Heck, there could be a J for all I know. All those areas send bands to state. And the number of bands that each area sends to state depends on the number of bands who got 1s at Region. At every area, you send 1 band for every 5 that received a 1 at Region. So if you have 25 bands that get 1s at Region that go to your area, you send 5 to state. 1 for every 5. Now, there have been bands in the past that get their 1 in Region and they don't compete at area. And that used to take away from that. But then they changed the rules, people voted and all that stuff. And so now all you have to do is get a 1 at a Region, and then they count that at the area. Now, not only does this matter or affect, rather, how many bands go to state from the area, it also affects whether or not you have an area finals round and how many groups go on. You have to have a certain amount of groups in order to have 10 bands advance to finalists. You have to have a certain amount of groups, or you only take 7 to finals. But then, if you have less than 12 bands, I believe less than 12, there's no second round. You perform once, and then they pick the winner, because they usually only pick 1, if not 2, and they go to state. So, Region is very important. It's not just a formality. You want to get your 1, but it affects area, it affects area finals, and of course, it affects state marching contests. So the more 1s, the better. I'm not suggesting you throw around 1s willy-nilly. I am saying the more 1s, the better. You got to earn it. You got to work for it. You got to play a march. It's exciting time. It's exciting time down here in Texas. It's an exciting time all around the country. The Indy Super Regional. Regionals are going all over the place. We are starting to get in the thick of it. People's shows are done. We're getting cleaner. We're adding smokes and lasers and balloons and confetti and an inflatable guy at the front of the used car salesman. It's the best time of marching band. October's the best time. I, as a designer and as a former teacher, God, I hated learning the music. I hated learning the drill. I hated all of that stuff. I could not wait till we learned it and we were getting good. That's when the fun stuff begins. We are in it. We are in the thick of it, and it's fantastic, and it's all taking place this weekend in band. We will be back on Sunday-ish, Monday-ish, depending on when we pop out the video for the recap of how this weekend went. If we did not mention your contest and you want us to talk about your contest, please email us down below and we'll do our best. We do need a schedule. I'm not just going to mention that you're having a contest. I want a schedule. I want to know where it's at. I want to know who's going. I want to know history. I want to know all those things. Send it to me. That'd be fantastic. And then on the recap, if you want us to, recap your show, email it to us at this email address at the bottom. Email it by 12 noon Central Time, because we do all of our planning in the morning so that I can be sure to talk about it during the day. I would love a recap. That's how we do it. It's called the recap. I will not just take words and I think I heard this from a forum of any sort. I want to be correct. I want to be legit. Yes, I will accept videotaped proof, as one particular band person sent me or would have sent me a few weeks ago. But regardless, that does it for this episode of This Weekend in Band. We'll see you this weekend at the recap. Buy a shirt, support the brand, thumbs up, like, subscribe, notification bell, all of those things. And we will catch you later on this weekend.